It is time to harvest my first salad from my kitchen garden for the spring season. Today is the last day of February, February 28th, and my salad is ready to go. So this is a funny story. I actually put seeds for the salad into the garden way back in November. We're at February now. And this is my first full winter gardening here in the Nashville area. I think we're zone like 7 or something like that. Our last frost date is April 15th or around there. And I was just kind of testing my luck in November, but I didn't really cover this garden. So I planted, but I did not do a great job of putting like frost cloth or anything like that on this. It would look a lot better if I had. So I had little sprouts coming up within, 15, 21 days. And then we had this crazy, really hard frost in December. And I mean, it went down to like, I want to say it was in the single digits, if I'm remembering correctly. So it was like single digits and cold for a few days. Like it was icy. And I did put a little frost cloth on this lettuce during that time. So I took that off, as soon as the really like single digit temps lifted, and the greens looked a little bit like they looked frostbitten, but they didn't look terrible, which I was shocked by because typically lettuce, especially soft lettuce, it does not love getting really, really cold. It can handle frost, like a little bit of light frost, and it doesn't mind temps in the 30s, but generally what I've seen is if there's a heavy frost, I end up losing my lettuce. So I was really pleasantly surprised, but the things were like this big. They were tiny. So I just let them be and, kind of just, cross my fingers that they would pick up the speed once temperatures started to rise. Sometimes when plants have frostbite like that or kind of are shocked by temperatures, they never bounce back. It's like they have, they're recovering from the trauma of the weather and they never quite get there. So sometimes it's better to like just pull them and start all over again. It's always a tough call to decide, like, is it better, like is this one that I need to pull or do I need to like give it another chance? Well, I was kind of lazy and honestly didn't have a plan, and it was a little bit too chilly to try to start something else. And so I just kind of let it sit here, literally uncovered the entire month of January and February. Typically lettuce like this is only going to take 25 to 30 days before you can harvest it from seed, up to 45 days really max. So I'm really, really far from that initial seeding date, which was probably somewhere in the beginning of November. So if we go, let's see, it's the end of February. So it's like 28 days of February, 31 days of January, and 31 days of December, and most of November. So basically 4 months to get this amount of lettuce. So obviously not the timing that you want for lettuce, but what it did teach me is that we can plant in this zone, we can seed lettuces in the fall, and even if we don't cover them, they can likely come, into their fullness faster than if I were to seed lettuce like in January or February. So you can see in this bed, I just came in a couple of weeks ago and added new seed in all these little open spaces. What happened in those open spaces is that's where the plants didn't make it. So you can see a comparison here of how tiny these little lettuces are compared to what I'm harvesting right now. So, so it shows you, if I hadn't started it in the fall, even though it kind of had some rough spots, then I wouldn't have lettuce big enough to harvest today, which is so nice. So what I'm doing here is these are pretty young plants and really just starting to get established. So I'm not cutting any like in their entirety. I'm cutting from the outside in. So I just go to like each plant, and in a few weeks, I'm not gonna have to do this. I can just simply come in here and just tear into it, and cut plants closer to their base. But because these plants are just starting to take off, I really don't want to do that just yet. So I'm just coming and I'm cutting around the edges of the center of a plant, and I'm careful not to cut the heart of the plant. That's where the majority of that's where all the new growth comes from. And so I don't want to cut out those young heart center leaves. I just want to cut the exterior and lower leaves. So I'm just kind of going around giving all these lettuce plants a little haircut. And the beauty of this kind of lettuce when you have it planted is you don't have to cut that much at any one time. You're not cutting for like a whole week like you would. You know, I don't like to go to the grocery store. I don't even like to go to the grocery store once a week, much less more than once a week, right? So when I go to the grocery, I buy like all my produce for the whole week. But when you have this outside your door, I'm not trying to get all the lettuce I need for the whole week, right? I'm just cutting it for today's salad at lunch. And so I'm just cutting enough to cover my salad bowl, not necessarily to, you know, feed my family for the next 5 or 7 days. So that's the beauty of growing your own, is you don't have to worry about it going bad or, you know, wilting or whatever. Just come out here, take a moment, get away from everything, cut your lettuce, and then head back inside to face the chaos, right? So I've almost filled up. You can see I've got a pretty good amount here already. I've been chatting, so I've been cutting a little bit slower than I normally would, but generally it would take me probably, I don't know, 5 minutes the way I'm cutting it right now to come out here and grab some lettuce. So when I first started growing lettuce in Houston, in our Houston garden, this was like my little morning routine, is I would grab my salad spinner, the base of it, and head out to the garden, usually in the dark, and harvest a bunch of lettuce like this, bring it inside. At that time, Jason was working out in the office, and so I would make him a salad to bring to work that day from our garden. Oh, there's a ladybug right here. Oh, thank you, ladybug. Ladybugs, if you see them, it's good luck, and it's also, they're so good for greens. They keep your greens clear of aphids and pests that we don't want on our lettuces. All right, so I'm just about done here. Now what I'm gonna do is, this is gonna be the base of my salad, and now I'm just gonna go around the garden and hunt for a few more greens to add to this. And then I will have my very first official salad of the year before March. All right, now I'm just gonna add a couple of toppings to my garden salad. So in this bed, I have some cilantro that also was sown back before we got really cold in the winter. And this cilantro is just gonna add a little flavor to the salad. And it's also good to keep cilantro pruned, because if you know cilantro, it bolts very easily. Bolting just means it goes to start to produce seed. So simply by cutting this back a little bit, I'm gonna encourage it not to have such thick stems and to keep producing through the heart of the plant. So if I had my herb scissors out here, I'd just go ahead and cut it. But I'm just gonna cut this right into the salad bowl, because I'm just gonna eat it just like this. It rained recently, I think it rained yesterday. So I feel like my salad's pretty clean. Now, I don't know if you knew this, but cilantro stems are just as delicious as cilantro leaves, and they're nice and crunchy. I see a lot of people like have all these little tools to get the leaves off the cilantro. You don't have to do that. Don't do that. It's too much work. You're gonna love the crunch of the stems. Not necessarily the case for grocery store cilantro, but definitely for garden cilantro. So these are chives. These are also these are perennials. They came back from last year. I planted them last summer. So I'm just going to take these off. And again, I'm just gonna slice them right up into my salad, so I don't have to come back and sort through and find them later. So it's just gonna add a little bit of peppery punch to the salad, make it a little bit more interesting. Now I do have peas, sugar snap peas growing, and I'm just gonna cut a little bit back from these, hoping that this will also encourage them to grow a little bushier. So I'm just gonna cut back to a leaf node here and see if I'll end up with more vigorous pea vines. So I haven't pinched out peas before, but I've heard that you can get better growth. So I'm just gonna cut these off, and I'm just gonna toss those on top of my salad. Then finally, I'm gonna add a little bit of color. So I've got these cute little purple pansies, and I'm just gonna cut 2 purple ones, and then maybe a little, maybe I'll just do purple. So this purple, again, this whole salad is brought to you by winter. This pansy I actually planted back in the fall. It looked like it was dead back in the middle of winter, and then it is like busting out the flowers. Do you see how many flowers are on this thing? It's so happy. So it was one of the first things to flower out for spring, which I love. So these are edible, but I would say they're not necessarily delicious. You know what I mean? So like the main goal with this is just the beauty. That's what we're going for. So I'm just going to tear the little petals off, put them in here, and then basically I'm pretty much done. Now I could rinse this off, and I probably will, but I actually, a lot of salads I just honestly eat straight from the garden. So here you go, brought to you by Zone 7 salad, grown through the winter and ready to eat before March 1st. Pretty awesome and delicious. Now my favorite dressing I'm going to put on here is just an equal mix of extra virgin olive oil, some local honey, and some apple cider vinegar. I just mix all 3 of those up in equal portions, put some sea salt on this, and it is ready to eat. So bon appetit, everybody. I hope this encourages you to grow your own lettuce. Listen, there is a ton of resources inside of Gardenary, all about growing your own salad garden. It's my passion and hope that every single person starts to grow a little bit of their own food, starting with greens. So you can learn more about growing salad at Gardenary, and you can watch all of our courses all about growing salad at gardenary365.com. You can start a free trial, log in, and just watch all the content for free. So check it out at gardenary365.com, and thank you so much for harvesting salad with me today. I'll see you next time.